Welcome back, everyone, to Lime City Winter Wonderland. We are here with Mega Man X4. It's the X 100% category, and it's Tempest Mask. Run in, take it away, my friend.
Thank you very much, good sir, and hello, friends and fellow gamers. My name is TempestMask1000. Some of you know me as Steve, and this is Mega Man X4. I love doing that. Don't mind me. Yeah, I'm very happy to be showing you one of my personal favorite mainline X games. It's a really solid speed run, something that I think a lot of you folks can definitely get yourselves into if you have a bit of a passion for Mega Man and just it's a really fun time. This game was originally launched in '97 as the first of the PlayStation X games. It really set a nice standard. It had a couple more, but honest, if you ask me, I feel like in terms of just a solid gameplay experience, this definitely had it. Although I may or may not like X6, and I may be joined by another X6 enjoyer. But speaking of being joined by some fellow community members, we got Flannels,
Hello, I am Glenn.
and this is JC.
Hello, this is JC.
Indeed, you are. How both of you doing? You ready for some Maverick busting action today?
Oh, you know it.
Yeah, I'm ready to watch it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. And hopefully I will be the one doing it with little to no mistakes. One would hope anyway. This game likes to bite back at me sometimes. All right, so yeah, as mentioned, we are doing X 100%, which means collect all of the collectibles. I'm playing as Mega Man X himself. This does have a zero mode. Both of the characters have separate storylines, and this was the only game to do that, in my opinion, for the better. But yeah, so we're gonna get this started, and time will begin once I select X as my character. So let's get ready. And 3, 2, 1, go. All right, JC, take me away.
Yeah, I'm just gonna echo what Tempest has said. X4 is a really great game, both casually and as a speed run. In fact, that's like what kicked off my speed running foray. Is I just liked this game. I grew up playing it. I think it's great as both a speed run and as a casual game. It's pretty forgiving. You get the speed of like the X games and the beautiful sprite work from the PlayStation era. But yeah, in terms of story, it's pretty pretty standard. Stigma is up to something. I mean, somebody is up to something. We don't know who it is at this point in the game. Yeah, there's lore in this game. Basically, the Mavericks betray the X Hunters, and some bad stuff happens. So we're gonna watch this Sky City fall to the ground off camera, and this is the aftermath of that. So it's pretty rough.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most serious moments of just about any X game visually. Like, in terms of, like, aside from story moments like what X5 had going in terms of the Eurasia colony, this was definitely, like, one of the most serious things we've ever actually seen in terms of a X game right up front. So, yeah, just really sets the tone behind how serious the whole situation that kicks off the game is. You know, if only the rest of the situation was as serious enough that it was at least, if only it was justifiable without having to solve it with a simple conversation. More on that later, but yes, this is a region. We're already at the intro boss, and if you're familiar with Mech Dragon from Mega Man 2, this is kind of like a better version of it, really. It's a giant draconic mechanoloid, supposedly from the Repliforce going amok. We actually don't even know if this ever did belong to Repliforce, but as you can see, the iframes are so short that trying to charge up a full charge shot isn't going to save too much time, and so I try to rail them down with some half charge shots to make up for that.
Yeah, and speaking of lore, here's like the first lore dump. Again, this entire game in this cutscene alone could have been solved if Colonel stayed around to answer questions, but
Exactly.
But he didn't.
teleports away, and now we have
No,
to
he
fight
did
eight
not.
Mavericks and go through all of the final weapon stages. Like the speed run could be 2.5 minutes long, but here we are.
Yeah. One thing to mention is that, unlike the Super Nintendo games before it, you can't hold start to scroll through text fast, so mashing is pretty important here. But luckily, you can use a plethora of buttons that the controller offers you, so you can use the shoulder and trigger buttons, you can also use the face buttons, and it's basically just a combination of all that you're gonna see me do. Not visually, though, but just like theoretically. I do have some noise suppression on here in the call, so I don't think you're going to be able to hear my mashing today, sadly, but let me tell you, it is a work of art.
The good thing about this game also is that there's not as much mashing. Like there's not a ton of text, and even if there is, if you consider it a lot of text mashing, it's all front loaded. So like, you know, once you're done with the stages that were flashing up there on the screen, once you get past that text, there's not a whole lot left to mash through, other than like boss text and the weapon get screens.
I'm surprised that bat did not despawn until the very end of the level.
He was just vibing with you.
It followed you
Yeah,
around.
and absolutely. So Flynn, can you cover a little bit about what makes the momentum here in this game a little different from the Super Nintendo titles?
Sure thing. So basically, in the Super Nintendo games, you will notice that when you start a dash, X immediately starts the dash. But in the PS1 games, they decided to add like 7 frames of startup for the animation on the dash, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
And then it is usually faster for you to dash jump all over the place, what we call bunny hopping, because through the course of the run, then those 7 frames will make a difference.
Yeah, I think if you wanted to do it like the perfect jumping or dash jumping, the TAS has it so that you're holding down the dash button and just lightly tapping the jump button. And so it's funny to hear because every time Mega Man jumps, he makes some kind of a noise. So if you hear that like several times per second, it's fun to listen to. But also with this boss fight, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if there's any other boss fights where you actually get to fight with the mech. Or any other kind of like supplemental like vehicle or something like. So it's really cool to be able to fight the magma dragoon with the mech. I'm getting all kinds of M words like
You can
mixed up here.
you can carry the right armor from X8 into the panda boss.
Yeah,
It is
Bamboo
possible.
Pandemonium, right?
I played
Pandemonium.
X8 once, and it's completely like gone from my memory.
I love
Yeah,
X8.
You can do that. Magma Dragoon
Actually-
is our Street Fighter reference.
Hmm.
He literally does Hadoukens and Shoryukens.
Yep, he's got the Akuma prayer beads as well. That's
Yeah,
there's a lot
absolutely.
of fun references to previous Mega Man, like original Mega Man games and X games as well. Like I think Web Spider's a reference to Bow Spider from X1.
Oh yeah. Actually, yes. I actually was going to mention that during the boss fight itself, but yeah, good call. Yeah,
Yep.
very. And luckily, it's nowhere near as aggravating as Boss Spider. Thank God for that.
Are they
Well,
related?
okay.
I never knew.
I just know that that Capcom does like to make a lot of like cheeky references to previous games or other games, other franchises that they have, and you know, all of the Hadokens and Shoryukens are references to Street Fighter, and they've been
Absolutely.
X1 and 2, I think, with the
Mhm,
respective moves. Unfortunately, we don't get the hurricane kick. I'm not going to try and
Yeah.
pronounce that in Japanese.
Tatsumaki Senpukyaku.
Thank you.
But
But yeah,
I play a little bit of Street Fighter.
yeah, they do. Like I said, Capcom likes to make little references to things like in Frost Walrus's stage, there are not one but 2 other or previous bosses in there, and like I said, there's a couple other references throughout the game. So I like to think that Web Spider is a reference to the original X game.
Yeah, it has to be because he
Alright.
drops minions just like the like Boss Fighter, very much
yeah.
so.
So we
All right,
collected the foot parts, as it were, which allow us to air dash and to hover a bit in the air. Actually, really useful.
Well, okay, theoretically useful. It depends on what kind of strategies you prefer to go with them. If you're playing casually, they act as a really nice safety net, but in terms of a speed run, they can eat our inputs, and it's really not good. Like, that's literally what happened to me in Area 1 with the second half of Area 1, anyway, of Web Spider here.
Yep.
Still useful.
And one thing of note is that I love that X4 like continues the tradition of like having special weapons affect the gameplay. Like in X, like if you defeat certain bosses in a certain order, the levels will change. So like I think
Really?
if you beat
Oh, yeah.
I think if you
Yeah.
beat Storm Eagle before you fight Flame Mammoth, then there's no lava on the floor. So like there's a lot of
Cool
cool.
penguin.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's it. Yeah, Chill Penguin will do that. There's a lot of cool uh, interactions that some of these weapons have. Speedrun wise, you don't see a lot of them, but I do like that in the speedrun that you have to use the fire to burn down the logs to get the heart tank and for a little secret shortcut that saves a little bit of time.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
That's because the X 100% route for this game is pretty set in stone. There's not much you can do with it because the weapons are locked by the not weapon. The most things are locked behind the fire weapon, so we gotta collect that first,
Hmm.
which is basically the only way that we can do the least amount of revisits in this game. And no matter no matter what you do, you'll have to at least revisit one stage once.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know.
far there's an asterisk on that. There's not actually a monetary bounty on there, but if anyone wants to figure out a way to crack the game so that we can get the chest piece first, or the chest piece early, so we don't have to revisit Dragoon, or if there's a way to get up to get the Buster part without having web, I think that would kind of crack the game open a bit more. But I know
That's
that in the X speedrunning Discord, there's been a lot of talk. There have been like some crazy, insane micro changes, like just slight changes on how you would go through a level that saves like a second or two, maybe at most. And they're really impressive, but they're also extremely like difficult to pull off. But if you would love to play this game, I highly recommend it. Like, not even just to speed run it, but if you do want to speed run it, like, by all means, like, reach out to us. Like, we love people playing this game. You don't have to be like going for world record. This is just a fun game to play on its own. But also, like, if more people want to try and like break the game open, I would love to see that.
Same, honestly,
really
it would be
amazing.
really cool. All right, so we're in Storm Owl stage, and this, in terms of the early gameplay, can definitely put your that was unfortunate. Can put your your general learning to the test. This stage is definitely a early gatekeeper because Owl himself is a pretty tough boss to just handle overall. I'm going to perform a little trick here. Ooh, okay, unfortunate. That's actually the any percent variant that you were trying to see me do in order to get on over to the other side early. I'm going to try it one more time, but in 100% I can use a different variation which involves the hover boots, so there we go. Nice.
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 Yeah, I think that honestly, doing this like platform skip is like one of the tricks that I learned early, or not early, but the first trick that I learned that I felt like, okay, I'm getting better at speed running. So like it is a bit intimidating, and there's like I think 4 or 5 different ways to like get through there, and it all comes down to a matter of personal preference, like how you do it, because there's like more I don't even remember the exact strategy on how to do it like the most optimally that some of the first and second speedrunners do on that. Dante and Johnny Go, like they're crazy good at this game, and it's always like crazy, like the strats that they pull through to get through some of these things.
Absolutely. And a quick shout out to Dante, by the way, SC Weeb1, who was supposed to join but unfortunately could not. Is the world record holder for just about a lot of the categories, if not all of them, with this game. It's He's a really fantastic runner, and yeah, Johnny Go is just as top notch for sure.
Oh, and just to point out, this is another boss that is a reference to, or at least I think is a reference to another character. You know, there's Storm Eagle in Mega Man X, and he has the what is the cyclone?
Yes.
I don't remember.
The double
Storm-
cyclone.
Is it double
Storm-
cyclone? Yeah.
Oh, Storm Eagle gives you the Storm Tornado.
Ah, yeah. And yeah, this is Storm Owl, so I just think it's like a nod that you know it's another kind of bird with storm, and they give you a cyclone. So, like I said, there's
One.
And also, what we're it's
Ooh.
worth pointing out that everything that Owl just did was
Nice.
completely and utterly random.
mhm.
There's absolutely no way to know what he's gonna do or where he's gonna come out. You just gotta guess.
Yeah, the it's kind of annoying because like this is actually a reset point for like a lot of like the higher level speed runs, because the RNG that Storm Owl can give you can just like really screw up your pacing. Because when he flies off of the screen, like if he flies off to the right, he'll either be on the top or bottom. So like what you would do is shoot a like charge shot just to fish out like where is he, and then if you hit him, cool, you can just stay up top, and if not, then you gotta jump down. It like really messes with your flow, so you always have to be on your toes.
The worst attack he has to offer, aside from the one that I managed to stop him doing just before he did it, is when he tries to grab at you and he takes a while to slam you on the floor. Kind of like a Mortal Kombat character, and the worst part about that is you can't even wriggle out of it. Despite the game allowing X to move left and right, he is completely helpless, and yeah, it is easily the most annoying thing I ever have to deal with whenever I practice his fight. But, you know, I actually had a pretty decent battle with him. One thing I could have tried to do was called a shield break, which you will see me do later, although it's going to be a lot easier. In terms of the main Mavericks fight, the early game, it's probably at its hardest, but yeah. By the time we do the traditional boss refights, will have his weakness, and it becomes just so much easier.
hmm Oh, I do want to point out that at the start of the stage there was Blizzard Buffalo that was frozen in the background, and right here is Chill Penguin.
Chill Penguin.
Yep.
I think they're
That's-
ice sculptures actually, because Blizzard Buffalo, Chill Penguin, and Frost Warrior were like pals or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I always thought like that's just how cold it is that it froze another Maverick.
They literally exploded though. How are they here?
I guess that is true. You know, Frost Walrus is he's an artist.
Well, in all fairness, there is a game that does take place before this, Mega Man Extreme 2, which is my first
yeah.
speed game, and they've had an excuse to bring those Mavericks back. So, you know, or at least Chill Penguin in Extreme 1. Buffalo is completely absent in Extreme 2. Now that I think about it, yeah, wow.
Also, I just want to talk about the mini boss that we fought, but Izard, I just like to call him the Ice Claw. That is the single worst mini boss in video game history. Can we agree to that? Can we agree to that?
I
That
can
he's the
agree with
absolute
that,
worst?
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
thank
pretty
you.
terrible.
So darn random.
And you
But I had
got
some
lucky
very good
because
luck.
he stayed open for a while. You could probably one cycle that.
Yeah, if only I didn't play it safe. I just sometimes try to lure him out with my Buster. If you really want to one cycle him, you're gonna have to use the rising upper charge variant and get him real good, and then you'll be able to do it a second time, and that's the one cycle right there.
Yep. And if you do charge up this weapon, which I feel like we've skipped a whole bunch of stuff, because at the beginning of this game there's a ton that happens. Like we didn't even talk about the EX tank, or that you picked up a weapon energy tank. Like there's so much. But I do want to say that one of the cool things about the picking up the Buster upgrade is that you can charge up the special weapons, and the charge of the fire weapon actually has you do the Shoryuken, and I think that that's just like a nice touch.
And it's also really good for vertical movement. As
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that we'll
that's
see in a future stage.
yeah, that's another thing is like, Osceola and Dante have like just been doing a lot of like single stage or single area sprints, on like how can you optimize the movement through it, and using charged rising fire is one of the things. And it's like it's so cool to watch, but like the amount of brain power that you would have to put into like, okay, so I switch like 4 weapons to get this one, do this charge, or like, you know, busting through like different parts with different parts of the weapons. It's like it's crazy to watch, but it is interesting that you know, there are people within the speedrun, the X4 speedrunning community that are trying to push the boundary of like, okay, what does everybody do, and then like what could you conceivably do to like shave off even more time.
Yeah, really fun. And so now we are going up against the Colonel from the beginning of the game. This is an intermission for that only X has to go through. Zero only has a little anime cutscene.
Which was
And-
animated by Studio Jebek, by the way, or Zebek, however you pronounce them. Sadly defunct since 2019, but responsible for my childhood nostalgia. That, of course, being the Mega Man Battle Network anime.
Love Mega Man Battle Network, both the game and the show.
But yeah, you were saying, Flynn?
Yeah, so essentially, we gotta fight. Colonel only shows up after the 4th Maverick, and Colonel himself is also a point for the route of the game, for the route for of 100%, because his weakness is ice,
Mhm.
and considering the route that we just went, we had to fight Walrus as the 4th, because his weakness is the fastest way to beat him. And so like it's all just a pretty set in stone almost. If we can figure out on how to get either the Buster upgrade without web, or get the body parts from Magma Dragoon early, then the game is wide open.
Yeah.
Essentially. Now we have a bike.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is the Ride Chaser. It makes a return from Overdrive Ostrich in X2, although in this case it's completely on the rails. So yeah, I obviously played that very safe. If you've seen runs of this game, you'd probably know that the tech involved is doing the dash while in the air, because that's what actually makes the game scroll faster consistently. But also you have a little bit of control by either pressing up or down to change your altitude in the midst of it. The problem is, it's also easy, unless you like memorize where things are, to die by way of the game just trapping you, and it certainly caused me to lose a lot of time in run attempts that I've had with this game.
And the bike really likes to eat inputs, which is not cool.
Dante would argue with you that the bike's not eating inputs, but it's the way that it works is, yes, to get through it, the fastest would be jump, dash, hold down, jump, dash, hold down, because it does make the game scroll faster. This level seems pretty simple, but to do it fast, it does require some memorization. Like once you learn like where certain obstacles are, it does get a little bit easier. But at the same time, like it is a pain in the butt to try and like make sure that your jumps and dashes are like spaced out right, because yes, the bike does have like some weird cooldown time on the end of its dash. So what you'll hear a lot of people complain about is that the bike ate its input, and it does suck, because you'll be like trying to jump because you know that you're about to go into a pit, but the bike is like, nah, we're almost done dashing, and then you fall to your death.
Essentially.
Speaking of falling to their death, the Stingray is already done. I'm sorry.
That was
too long.
It's funny. We have his weakness, which is ice, but it's actually slower. It's really slower to use his weakness against them, so we just busted him to death. So while we're here, we should probably talk about the things that we collected. We collect the heart tanks to increase our max health. We also collect the sub tanks, which store health for future healing. The EX tank, which allows you to return after a game over with 4 lives instead of 2. And the weapon tank, which stores weapon energy for you to heal your weapon energy later on.
Yep.
Essentially.
Now, the really nice, generous thing about sub-tanks in this game is that, unlike previous Mega Man games, where you had to be at full health and then collect health for it to go to the tank, X4 puts health into the tank regardless of whether you have taken damage or not. So it's very easy to use the tanks as a backup. And, ooh, extra life. That was actually kind of lucky.
Nice.
Nice.
The run is blessed now.
Not that I needed it, but yeah, no, this run has been very blessed. Not to mention the zero mistakes Stingray. That was absolutely impressive.
Yeah,
But
this
yes,
is another level, just like Stingray's level, where it just seems pretty easy to just like, all right, you just go to the right and shoot your buster to destroy everything. But at the same time, like in order to speedrun this like level, you do need to learn like enemy placement and like when should you be charging and that kind of stuff. Like it's this game can be pretty deep if you want to like learn the different patterns and whatnot in it. Like that's why I think that this is a great game, both like casually,
Ooh,
just
good
like
cycle.
yeah, that was a really fast cycle. That's another thing. Oh, there's so many things to like explain. Like
There's so many things to explain. It's insane.
yeah. Okay. Just someone should just like stop it and play the Mario bus schedule. I forget exactly who did that analogy. It kind of has the same thing on the end of that mini boss fight. So that's why
Yeah.
we're saying that it's a good cycle.
Oops, shoot. Oh, no. Flashing. Oh, come on. I hate it when I do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as you just saw, using the ride armor, I can destroy the train cars, but not only does it cause a little bit of inconvenient flashing, but it also is just... It's really... It just serves no real purpose to it. Was that one of the Repliforce armors that just tried to chase me out of the camera or something?
Oh yeah, that guy
They like
is...
to do that.
Yeah, he's very thirsty, and will just
Yeah,
like
it's
chase
happened
after you at the
before,
end.
Not during a run, though, for whatever reason. I gotta say, that's never happened before. Alright, so we are coming up to the Slash Beast boss fight, and, well, yeah, I mean, okay,
He has
where to
Spark
begin
Mandrill
with this one?
He has Spark Mandrill syndrome.
And Boomerang Cutter, actually, come to think of it. So, first and foremost, let me actually get into his weakness, and now his toenails are gone.
I would like... Oh, I never noticed that his toenails go missing. Because I was going to say, I'd like to point out that this, if you let him do his crescent kick, that is a reference to Guile from Street Fighter, but he's just going to keep slipping all over the floor.
He can still do it. The difference is, with his toe claws, he can do it in two directions, but in this case, he just does the one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was Slash Beast. That was it was not too bad. And the good cycle, yeah. So as oh shoot, forgot to mash.
You were
Let's
mad.
talk about that. Yeah, let's talk about that really quick. Because if you're not mashing through that, you lose at least 4 seconds due to the announcer saying you got this weapon. And yeah, we just avoid it that way. There's not much else to it, but. Yeah, like JC alluded to, the whole point of the Slash Beast mini-boss is you gotta try and destroy it at a certain point in which the game is trying to track the animation cycle of what's going on in the level / background. And once it recognizes the point in which it's ready to transition onward to what would be the next portion of the train... Oh, by the way, I forgot to say the bit, I like trains.
There you go.
There you go.
So... Yeah, once it recognizes the point within the coding, it moves on, and you know the rest.
In case anyone is wondering, going back to the stage was on purpose. This is something that we've alluded to a couple times. Unfortunately, since we don't know a way to break the game open just yet, it might not be possible. In order to get all of the upgrades, you have to come back to this stage to get the heart tank, which is possible to grab early. There's like there's a couple tight jumps that you can do. I think that web strategy is pretty safe to do. There you go. So this is the part that if we could
That's the single reason why we need buster upgrade.
Yep.
We need buster upgrades for this.
Which this thing here I think is a reference to Mega Man X as well, where you have to actually I think you get the headpiece in X when you use when you have to fight that green robot. I cannot remember its name.
No, it was the body piece that
Oh, okay,
that was
cool.
got by the mini boss. Yes.
Yeah,
Also,
but
we'd
like
like to call that Big Green Daddy
that's
or
it.
something like that. Big biker, green biker daddy, something like that.
Bruh.
I don't know
But
the
yeah.
actual name. I just always assumed it was a creation that Dr. Light somehow left to guard the capsule, but I guess that probably is incorrect too. Actually, I used to think that was Otto. So I used to think that was Otto from the classic Mega Man games. So
We're into mushroom stage. This is gonna be a very vertical level.
Yeah, this
Like
is
we're gonna see
one
later
where
on.
if you're playing this like super optimally, like the there's some beautiful things that you can do with the charge rising fire, but it's too complicated for me. Like my brain just doesn't move that fast. But yeah, as you like level up in your skill, like you can do some pretty cool stuff with the rising fire.
I run this game. I try to do the rising fire things, and it is tough, but it's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it like throws off your rhythm because that's another thing. Like if you mess up your rhythm, same thing with like the jet bikes. Like as you're going, if you like pick up even like a weapon energy pickup as you go, I will wait.
What?
Okay, cool.
Oh, we got it. Here's the mini boss.
I always make sure to take at least a brief half second to know where my foot positioning is as a little safety marker.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I will stop talking about the previous level and talk about that mini boss skip because I think it's one of the coolest things in the game. Basically, what you do is with charge rising fire, or I think there's even ways to do it with the web spider weapon, not as consistently, but if you get high enough in the air. And then either do a Nova Strike or, depending on how you do it, just you want to get further to the left. You can actually skip over the trigger to start the mini boss fight, and in doing so it doesn't lock the camera, so you can pass the mini boss entirely. And yeah, it's just it's a goofy little trick to do, and I think it's great. It's a fun, it's another one of those skills that like once you learn how to do that little trick, then you kind of like level up in terms of your speedrun strats.
Absolutely. And it's not that hard of a trick to pull off. The
Right.
thing that can
Yeah,
trip
it's
you
really
up
easy.
is that in order to activate the Nova Strike, you have to do it without dash momentum. If
Yep.
you are in the middle of if you're in midair and it's got dash momentum, English is hard, excuse me for the stuttering, then it will not work. So,
Yeah,
just
speaking of another
little-
like rising fire skip, we completely skipped out of the camera lock on the auto scroller, and was able to get up into this
The boss
boss
room.
room. Yeah, up much further ahead of time, so you can just reposition yourself and mess with mushroom.
Oh, it's fun. By the way, the Nova Strike is the ability granted to us by the body parts in this game, which is it's basically our super move. We only have one use of it, but once we take enough damage, it restores up, so you can do it again. We'll see that in action, like on the rematches. Ooh,
Yeah,
missing that
if
last.
you take enough damage, pick up health and weapon energy also mildly affects it. But I think if you just take it like 4 hits from like a boss, we'll end up having to recharge it later. But yeah, if you take a certain number of damage or pick up some refills, then it also helps as well.
I'm pretty sure it's like you get to half health on a boss.
Yeah.
Half your health is another strike use.
I'd like to give a quick shout out though to the voice actors behind Split Mushroom. Some of you might have noticed that the Mavericks themselves haven't really been doing a lot of English talking, whereas when we fought Colonel, he did. So this is one of the interesting things about the speedrun in that, unlike most Mega Man games from back in the day, we actually get a lot more mileage out of running the English version of X4 instead of the Japanese version. And why is that? Well, first and foremost, the bosses, the Mavericks, and well, okay, most bosses, any boss that can speak, there is a like I said, English is hard right now.
You
There's
got
a
this.
recorded-
Can I say? Can I tell that part?
I got it. It's
Alright.
there's a boss dialogue before the fight begins. Actually, you can continue where I left off, Len.
Oh, essentially, in the Japanese version of this game, the boss they have pre-battle lines that they say. You heard it with Colonel, he have voice lines, but like the A Mavericks, they didn't get the voice lines. So in the English version, so it's faster to. So the English version is actually faster to play because they don't play those voice lines.
Yeah,
Essentially.
I think if you like just the text mashing alone, I think saves like 1 to 2 seconds or something, but you lose 15 or so with all of the voice lines because not they don't just play on the first trip through. I believe they also play on the refights as well.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, they do.
Also, Tempest, I'm sorry to say, but you got grabbed by the ball,
Yeah, I got grabbed by the ball. Nut.
by the Cyber Peacock ball. What is it with Cyber Peacock and balls? In his first part, you have to deal with balls that get you, and then you have to roll these balls around in part 2. What is going on?
Well, one of them we like to call hitting the Dante button because SD Weeb accidentally during a run happened to get a crushing death, a rather unexpected crushing death. So if the ball falls down on you, the game will count it as an instant kill, and it's something you want to watch out for. So yeah.
not even just that. During that time, pressing the button, as you could see, would flip the entire level. And depending on how you hit that last button, if you're like too high up when you land on the button, it can flip it so that your head is inside the level, and that kills you. I don't
Game
know
no.
exactly how to trigger that, but it is something that does happen. So it's always something you gotta keep an eye on.
It happened to me once or twice. It was funny. Not really. I lost runs to that.
Yeah. So the thing about Cyber Peacock stage is that in order to get all of the collectibles, as you saw in Area 1, I had to go through these obstacle courses and try to avoid the yellow balls, which with the soul body weapon that we get from Split Mushroom can be destroyed easily. The thing is, you want to make certain that you get to the end gate of each of those time trial sections without getting a rank down, because you need the S rank in order to get to that upgrade or collectible. And if you get an A rank, you just move on without collecting it. If it's anything lower than that, you have to do the whole entire section again. But anything that isn't an S rank is basically bad time loss in a speed run. So yeah. And lastly, to complete our Force armor, or the proper name for the Mega Man X4 armor, we got the headpiece, which is probably one of the most broken things that any X armor piece could ever offer. And that's unlimited weapon use, provided that it's the uncharged variant. So I'll still lose weapon ammo for using a charged variant, which will still come in handy, no doubt. But as for the rest of the run, I don't lose any weapon ammo. I can just spam it as many times as I need to, which is especially nice in a game like this one. I will say though, when I started speedrunning X4, I actually learned the any percent route, which is something I did want to bring up earlier. The any percent route and the 100% route are not too far off in terms of faster times. I believe it's 100% that is objectively faster, but in any percent, you can still get as fast a time with maybe just a minute's difference, as proven by Dante. So it's really cool. And in that route, we start with Web Spider, and then we do Owl, then we go to Slash Beast, and then Dragoon to get the body armor. And the first Colonel fight then doesn't use his weakness, but instead we use the Nova Strike in a really nice way that allows him to get multiple damage, which we should talk about that while I'm doing the refight. So Colonel's iframes will reset when he does like a new action. So whenever he finishes teleporting, whenever he's about to attack, we try to make use of that to get as many hits on him as possible, which is why in the case of this refight, I'm a little more reliant on the Frost Tower, because the Nova Strike in the original fight, Nova Strike gets stopped by a solid wall. But because the battle arena in the Memorial Hall does not have actual walls, the Nova Strike still keeps on going. So in that case, it's a little more advantageous there. But in the refight, it's a little harder to get, and so what you saw me try to do to attempt to get either a double or triple hit on his HP is definitely not the easiest, but it's well worth noting. So now we've entered the space station or the final weapon, and oh, hey, isn't that our rookie buddy from Maverick Hunter Base? What's he doing here?
Who we did
Wait.
not spend any time talking about at all.
Who
Wait a
is that
second, why
guy?
is he called Double? Oh, wait a second.
Yeah. I think one thing that's interesting with this, his weapon actually makes him a tougher fight. If you just use your Buster or any other weakness, I don't think he has any other weapons that do a decent chunk of damage. But every time you hit him with a double cyclone, it spawns off like two little, I don't even
Those
know what they call them. Yeah,
drone
yeah,
things.
drones. Yeah, and they can be annoying because if you try and use your weapon and you've already been hit, you have to wait for the iframes or the recoil from taking hits to play out. But that's not a completely trivial fight when you use his weakness, because if you're not paying attention to your health, you can easily die there.
I died to him
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
I've died to
In a
him a few
run.
times. So yeah, there you go. That's the air dash in action, and one of the ways it actually does help you, because in any percent, trying to get that platforming is a little more annoying.
Mhm.
Okay, there we go. I was trying to dash with the ride armor, but it somehow didn't want to. By the way, that special ride armor right there, it can hover in the air, kind of like what the foot parts allow us, but then it could also do the air dash, and it's definitely the most useful ride armor, perhaps within just about the entire PS trilogy, because I don't think they've really brought it back for X5 or 6. It's just the basic ride armor the whole time.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
Sheesh.
Also, general
I
fights.
have no choice. He said the line.
He said the
Uh,
line.
Two fun facts. This is, I think, the only boss fight that you can just stand in, or boss room that you can stand in. You actually have to walk forward to trigger the fight. And during the dialogue between him and X, they actually misspell his name, so it's spelled General instead
Yeah.
of General.
Yeah, I love
They
that.
did. They did. I never noticed that.
Yeah, yeah. It's only one dialogue box. Like, it's not even that they misspell it the whole time. It's a single dialogue box where it's spelled without an E, a second general, or a second E in general. Sorry, English hard.
I feel that. But yeah, I love the fact that Ultra Uberness in his X4 run at GDQ, although at least a few years ago or so, like maybe 6 by now, he took a brief moment to point that out. It's one of my favorite things. And I'm
But
also
that's-
just glad that he did the line, by the way.
That's where I actually found out about it. I had never noticed that until I was like, huh, yeah, he does do that.
Insane.
Yep.
So, Tempest, are you gonna go for the quick kill here on Spider?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, I'll let you concentrate because it's tough.
Yeah, it really is. All right, here we go. Come on. Oh, yes. Okay.
Nice.
Nice.
Yes! Let's go!
That is crazy hard to do, and like this is like that's one of like the most satisfying fights, because Web Spider is like pure RNG. When he goes up into the ceiling, you have no idea where he's dropping down. So getting that quick kill is like extremely satisfying, but also very nerve-wracking to make sure that you can get it set up right. I don't know like how to fully explain it, other than when you hit him or when he goes off screen, it flips his iframes or his invincibility. So if you hit him just as he goes off screen, his iframes are gone, and you can like do a large chunk of damage to him. So doing that Nova Strike chunks him because you are doing damage the entire time you're passing through him. And yeah, it's I can't stress how impressive that was. That was a really clean fight.
It was a bit
I'm
trolly,
so
but
happy.
it worked out in the end. And we're
Yep.
gonna see the same thing with Owl over here, but the way we're gonna do it is a bit different.
So I alluded to this earlier. Now I'm going to be using the aiming laser, but first I'm going to load a couple of charge shots to make this a little bit more manageable because it all depends on what he overall decides to do. So
Mhm.
let's see here. Okay, I'm going to just quickly, because I don't trust my, I trust my menuing more right now. I'm not going to do it yet, just coming up. Okay, that's not a good position. I want to preferably be at the top so that the teleportation happens a lot faster. There we go.
There we go.
Nice.
So it was not quite at the it was not quite at the top, but hey, I went for it, and you know what? We still got the funny damage.
Yeah.
The game basically just freaks out if you hit him with his weakness, and like his iframes just don't work. It's like it's really funny.
Okay, so we're gonna go into Walrus, and I gotta make a quick mention and a shout out rather to my pal Chair G Tables, who ran this alongside Vox Android Slurpathon, and it has to be said, big shout outs to Frost Walrus, and that is all.
Wow.
Okay.
I want to say nothing really too special is gonna happen a bit, so we could probably get some donations right now. That would be a good time. We didn't
Yeah,
have those
any
yet.
announcements or donations, go right ahead. But yeah, aside from that, you know, generally just got to go through the boss fights, trying to manage my Nova Strike as best as possibly. So yeah.
Do you use Nova Strike on any of the other bosses other than Spider and Owl?
Mushroom if applicable.
Gotcha.
Or Peacock.
Yeah, because I know that when I go through here, I start with Spider just to see like, all right, how's the boss rush going to be? Like, do I get the not Owl, the Spider quick kill? I can't English right now. And then I work clockwise. But yeah, I was just curious if you pick up or if you do a third Nova Strike, because I've seen you pick up some weapon energy.
Well, yeah. Because my muscle memory is just a little fine-tuned to having the Nova Strike as a backup just in case. Oh, come on. All right, hang on a second.
Here we go. Yeah, we actually get to see.
There
There
we
we go. Ah, yeah. I guess we didn't get to see him encased in ice, but yeah.
No, that wasn't. That was totally on purpose, though. But like, it's because again, if he gets hit and it doesn't kill him, then he will be invincible very briefly. It's definitely going to be time loss if that happens. So
Yeah.
just it's a little better this way. But I will say my favorite way to use Frost Tower is if Jet Stingray potentially uses his what I like to call his desperation move, where he dashes out of the screen and then he does a few more dashes, and it's usually a hard to manage attack. But if he starts to do it at his low health, then I usually like to kill him by setting up the Frost Tower so that when he hopefully dives into it, it just kills him, and it's the most funny. It's the funniest thing ever. Oops. Back.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
loved it.
so Mushroom. Yeah, so we were talking about voice acting. Split Mushroom's voice actress is actually someone who, oddly enough, has not had a lot of voicing credits on her page. Like, she's done quite a few things. Particularly, she's known for the character Dapu, which is a supporting character in Car Ranger, the Super Sentai equivalent of Power Rangers Turbo. So, as a way to recognize that, my split is Car Ranger Dapu Mushroom. And
Fun fact.
Yeah, it's really cool. But we should probably talk about the elephant in the room, that being the English voice cast. This game came around the same time as Mega Man 8, both games being for the PlayStation after all, and they also did get a Saturn port, so there's that too. Thing is, well, for one, the Saturn port of X4 does not do anything different, unlike Mega Man 8. But thing is, the exact same dubcast voices both games. You're probably thinking, wait a second, I've played Mega Man 8. Doesn't X sound a little bit like Mega Man. And yeah, Ruth Shiraishi voices both classic Mega and X in those respective games. It is so weird and quite frankly doesn't fit because X is supposed to sound much older than Mega Man. She was good as Mega Man, I will give her that, but I just don't think this is a good X. But hey, all respect to Ruth, because she did actually confirm that the casting was done within just the exact same recording process. When she was on an interview at one point and mentioned, "Oh yeah, we did lines when we were in the booth. We recorded our lines for both this game and Mega Man 8." So yeah, it's no wonder.
That's cool. I didn't know that. I do want to
So
give a
weird.
shout out to Mega Man 8's Dr. Light. He's my favorite.
Yeah.
We'll find
we need
Dr.
to get all
Wily.
the we have to find Dr. Wily, Mega Man.
the, just him like briefly like forgetting what he was supposed to say and changing it, and the sound guys are like, "It's all right, we'll fix it in post," and then they didn't. He said enough of the words like we've got to turn this around in 45 minutes. Let's go.
So
Oh,
yeah, those are all the Mavericks, and here we go.
Yeah, spoiler alert, it was Sigma all along. Oh.
Oh
That's the
no.
thing about X4 with X's campaign. The first cutscene we see is literally Sigma talking to General, trying to manipulate him into starting a coup with the Repliforce. And at first, General's like, "You know what? Get out of my sight. You're talking nonsense." But yeah, no, this game did not hide Sigma's involvement at all. Luckily, he's got a pretty cool boss fight, so there is that much.
Yeah. And you did I did see that you manipulated where his attack when he jumped up there. There's 2 attacks that Sigma can do when he leaps in the air the second time. If you are, oh, I don't know how to describe it, but basically he draws a line from his face or whatever, his body, to where X is, and if the line would hit the floor, then he's gonna jump down he throws his scythe into the ground, and that is an annoying pattern. But what you want him to do is throw a scythe into the wall.
Tremble in terror. You are finished.
Sigma
Alright,
really
so
loves
this
his
is-
face. He puts it everywhere.
Are we gonna get?
Yeah.
Now, question: Are we gonna get the ended?
Let's see. Okay, thankfully it's not the other attack. So this is 2 different Sigma forms. We have what's called Gunner Sigma, or at least what we usually call him. I think it's the head is called Ground Sigma. Okay, no, none of that so far. By the way,
end.
yes, I am doing the any percent strat for this. I am not a master of the 100% strat, and I fear I will die the other way around. So
It's
I'm
okay.
just doing this for the safety.
That is okay. I was gonna say even
That's
I
okay.
have messed up in terms of the optimal way to do it is on that pattern. You jump and actually use the hover boots. Like that's like the one great time to use the hover boots. You can hover and hit him with his weakness, which is the soul body, and then after 5 hits, like after you hear the 5th hit, you can float towards him and hit yourself, and that resets the activation of the
He did it.
The hover.
yeah, it resets the hover, so you can literally just hover there, re-damage, and keep hovering and continue to hit him. These are some great Ground Sigma patterns.
Yes! Oh,
There you
just
go.
before he disappeared. Oh,
We are
yeah.
coming up
All right.
on time.
We
So
are coming
just-
up on time.
Yep, just wanted
Yes.
to point that out.
It's not that hard to do the hover strat on him. You just gotta like practice just a little bit. And
Yeah,
you know
like-
that
Yeah.
Just to get
It's
a
one of
feel for
those. It's one of those strats. Like once you learn it, it's like, I finally got it, and like it just feels like, I can't believe I didn't do this before.
Wait, and
Time.
Time.
Whoo, that was a
GG.
solid run.
GG's.
Very, very nice. Thank you, guys.
Well,
Dang
thanks
it!
for
I
having
wanted to
us.
swap to I wanted to swap to aiming laser for the funny, but you know what? Green is my favorite color at the end of the day. All right,
Alright.
so first and foremost, 7-minute PB.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think you just recently got a PB. It hasn't been approved yet, but yeah, think you submitted
Oh
about a
yeah.
day ago. But yeah, congrats on the PB. Sub 1 hour.
Oh, heck yeah. That was way overdue, considering that the other times was able to record or showcase a X 100% run, it usually had a plethora of mistakes to it. But, my most recent event run with this was RGL TV's Feed the Kids, where I did at least manage to get a 58, and that was still a PB. But I made sure to just put a lot of practice as best as I could with 100%, because, like I said, I started off with any percent. Oh, excuse me. I started off with any percent, and usually the muscle memory that goes into both, it varies enough that it can be hard to just get down 100% once you transition into it, but it's still a really cool category and just overall something a performance I was really happy with tonight. So yeah, I'm very grateful.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say like mistakes or no mistakes. Like you did great. Like we all had fun, and I think that's the important thing.
Absolutely.
And there are so many things that I think we just skimmed over. We just forgot to talk about because the game goes by so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was mentioning earlier, like I think that this is a great game to play not only casually, but if you want to learn it as a speed run, I think it's great because it's not too demanding, but the more you push the game, the more it's going to kind of push back, and it can be as complex as you want it to be. Like I said, we've got some people that are just like trying to find like the craziest like time saves, and it can be pretty complex if you want it to be that way, or if you just want to like do a run and gun kind of play style. It's all valid, it all works, and it's honestly a great game to play.
Really is. And I do want to bring up the elephant in the room that, yeah, this was the Mega Man X Legacy Collection, which one way you can tell is that this version of the game does have some of the pitches and some of the sounds, the way they are played, a little bit differently than if you were to play on a original version, which could be either through original hardware or even something like a PS1 Classic, like playing through the PSP or Vita or PS3. But there's also the Mega Man X collection, which was North American exclusive and available for PS2 and GameCube. So, X Legacy Collection and the X Collection, as well as the original versions, they're all separate leaderboards because they all run on RTA, and each of them have a little difference to them that the community just decided it was probably for the better to split. But it's very accessible otherwise with all these different versions. Like, you choose how you want to play it, and yeah, no, just make it your own. But yeah, before we sign off and bring it back to the marathon team, because I know my buddy Magius is coming up with Wing of Darkness, we got to give a quick shout out to the Mega Man X speedrunning Discord server, which if you want to join us and learn any kind of Mega Man X speedrun, the link to it can be found on any of the leaderboards on SRC, or more specifically, you can jump to the Mega Man RTA leaderboard website, and you can go to the About page or one of the page tabs, which will bring you to a little index of the several Mega Man Discord community speedrunning servers that you can join for Battle Network, Star Force, ZX, and all that other jazz. And we're always keen on newcomers. Please, we don't bite. We appreciate any folks that are like-minded in Mega Man appreciation, casual or speed. Flen, JC, where can these wonderful people find you?
Well, you can find me over at twitch.tv/Flano. Well, I've been I've been running X4 for a bit. I've been playing some Devil May Cry. In fact, today I played a tournament of Devil May Cry 180%. I lost tragically in the second round, but we don't talk about that. But hey,
Yeah.
if you want to hang out there, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, that's something similar. Twitch.tv/this is JC. I speedrun X4 occasionally. Not as much as I used to, but I have been like getting the itch to de-rust, so I'll be doing that soon. TM.
Heck yeah. And if you want to follow me, I'm TempestMask1000 at Twitch as well as YouTube, Twitter at It's Tempest Steve, and Blue Sky Tempest Mask. I would like to give a shout out to D-Limes and the thanks to the Lime City crew for having me. This is my first time for a Lime City event, and also supposedly the last event run I'm doing for 2023, because I don't think I've gotten accepted into anything else, so what a fantastic way to end out the year. And let's keep raising more money for Child's Play, because it's a charity I've supported with other events in the past, and they're just fantastic with what they do. So back to you guys. Until next time, ciao, Michi.
Thanks very much, guys. We're going to drop back to a quick intermission, and then we'll be back with some Wings of Darkness. So